and here we have the father and son comparison. Sorry, I mean, here we have a size comparison of Gohan with his father. Hey, this is the Great Figure Man, and I'm here with the first look, mini review of the just released Son Gohan Kid era. And if after this review you want to check out more photos of Gohan, there will be a link in the description below to the reference page on Rockchala.com. Also, if you want to discuss more about this figure or any Dragonballz Figuarts in general, there's also a link to the Global DB S.H Figuarts Collectors Discord channel. It's a great place to come and talk and hang with fellow collectors. So looking at Gohan, he's exactly the same as the previous releases. He's got the Toei sticker, the Tamashii Nation's quality seal. However, keep in mind that this is the Japanese release, so overseas ones will have a slight different configuration or extra stickers on them depending on the distributor. Okay, so as you can see, we've got the different heads on him inside, and on the back the usual selection of images showcasing his accessories. Anyway, let's just crack him open and have a look at the good stuff. Okay, so we've got him here in his inner packaging. Before we go into the accessories it comes in, one thing I want to point out that's awesome about this guy is he actually comes with two hairstyles for different sagas. So for the Saiyan saga, he's got the spiky long mullet here, and then for the Namek saga, he's got the super stylish badass bowl haircut. So that's one thing that's great about this, it covers different eras so you can mix and match with the figures that we've been getting recently, especially with the latest Piccolo. Okay, and then besides that, we've got the extra facial expressions, the surprise, scared look, especially good for the Saiyan saga, and also his screaming charge attack phase. And then going on, we've got the 1-star Namek ball, and then we've also got the Dragon radar, and then selection of hands, including some to do his Masenko attack, and ones to hold the ball and general grip hands as well. Now, one thing that's actually really cool about this radar, which we'll see in a moment, is that it's actually got no hole in the back. So while it looks like it's the same as Bulma's, the Adventure Bulma radar, the image on top is actually different, and then on the back there's no hole, which is great. So we'll go over that in a little bit when we go through his hands and accessorizing him. Again, let's just pop this open, we'll do some poses and go through each individual accessory. Okay, so we've gone out of the packaging here, and we've got a couple of accessories on the left which we'll go through in a moment, as well as some others in the box. But before we get into it and start taking them apart and changing around, I just want to quickly go over a bit about the build quality and a little bit of a comparison. So if you're a seasoned collector, you've probably already noticed, and probably already from the promo material, that his body is very similar to that of Goku, which I've got right here. I've put them next to each other. Looking at the two side by side, the body types are essentially the same. A couple of the main differences you'll notice is obviously around the belt styles, and the mold in that middle area is slightly different. I feel it works a bit better in Goku, where his top part of his gi does cover, whereas the Gohan one's kind of got that slight gap there, which is a bit of a shame, but overall it's not too much of a problem. The big difference though is the head size. The Dragon Ball line with Goku and Krillin really went down the line of chibi style, and I think it really works for the Dragon Ball line, which is a bit more fun, comedic. However, in the Dragon Ball Z line, which is a lot more serious, especially in the Saiyan saga and Namek saga, I believe them choosing to go for a smaller head that actually fits the scale of the body is definitely the right choice to go with, and it looks awesome. It would have been interesting to see what it would look like with a big head. Maybe if I actually saw it in person, it might be a better option, but considering what we've got, I'm overall very happy with the way he looks. Okay, so we'll put Goku away, and then we'll have a wee look at the articulation. Since his body is essentially the same as Kid Goku, it's all very much the same. Overall articulation is pretty good. The shoulder area is a little bit limited and a bit stiffer. Can make it a little bit harder to pose. The waist as well, with that sort of double joint. He has some, as far as the Dragonballz Figuarts go, the articulation isn't too bad. However, the way it does work, you do get that gap in the middle, so if it comes up too high, it does look a little bit weird. I'm not sure if you can see it too well on camera, hopefully. There we go. Yeah, and then for the legs, he doesn't really have a Van Damme stretchiness that the 2.0 Piccolo has, but coming from such a tiny body, it's not too surprising. But besides that, it's just the standard 2.0 articulation that we've come to expect. It's got the little bit toe joints as well. He does have some very good range in his neck. It's got that double joint that pops up, so you can get very good articulation there. Okay, so let's just put him to a side and check out the new Dragon Radar and hand. So this radar, not sure how well you can see on the camera. Hopefully that is okay. Let's see. There we go. So compared to the Adventure Begins Bulma, which had several balls scattered, this one only has the one single ball. So obviously this is based when Gohan was flying off to retrieve that one that was hidden by Vegeta, which is a pretty cool throwback to the series. Now the way it attaches to her hand this time is literally it just pops right in there. As you can see, there's absolutely no hole in the back, which is really cool. And the same for his hand. So it means the hand can be multi-use. You're not just limited to only using this one hand for holding the radar. And it just pops back in there, and it holds in there really well. And next up we've got the Dragon Ball. Now this is exactly the same as all the other Namek ones. Just decent size, nice clear orange colour for 1 star. Okay, now looking at his head, which is a bit more exciting. So checking out his Saiyan Saga head, he does have a small ball joint at the back of his head, so you do have some limited articulation in his hair, so you can move it around depending on the pose you put him in, which is really cool. I assume this is going to be very similar to what that Yamcha that they recently showcased at the Tamashii event will be like. Okay. So one thing that I really liked when I was opening him up and playing around was that his head joint is really easy to change. A couple of figures I think, especially Kid Krillin, one that I had at least was quite tight and made it very difficult to change heads, but with this one, nice and easy, just pops on and goes on easily again. So as you can see here, the head joint has some great articulation. When you do pop in, you just want to make sure it goes, the first ball and second ball are flush. That will make it easier when you reattach the head. That should just pop straight back on. There we go. And now he looks awesome. And then if we swing him around to the side, you can see he's got some pretty good articulation in his hair. You can go up waving. Okay, so I've grabbed out his extra head and a couple of hands. We'll switch around his face, check out the way everything connects together, and then we'll put him into his Masenko pose. So over here is very similar to just about every other Goku figure, where the bangs pop off first, and then you can just pop the face off. It's got the 4 different attachments, the 2 female, 2 male. So the head goes in there nice and snug. Then the bang just slots in on top. Now he's ready for some action. Okay, and the hands as well. Let's just pop off nicely. And it's got the standard little bit tiny ball joints there. Okay, let's pose them up. Got the one hand in front of the other. Spread the legs. There we go. Not quite the best pose. Kind of hard stretching around from behind the camera. But you get the idea. There we go. That was awesome. So, I just want to go over a few of the pros and cons, at least from my opinion, on this figure. Starting off with the pros. Now, for one thing, the facial expressions on this figure is amazing. I feel like they've really nailed the character of Gohan, and they've got a few of the key moments of him, especially with the scared look Gohan here. This is awesome for the Saiyan Saga movies, cowering behind Piccolo while the others are fighting away. And when he does sort of get the courage and the action and do a few big attacks, he's got that excellent face here where he's screaming. And then just the standard kind of trying to be stoic look with a bowl cut and his angry look as well down here. The line work around the eyes, I think they will look really good. No weird cross eye type thing going on from what I can tell. And then yeah, the second pro is definitely the fact that it can cover two sagas, especially with the rate that Tamashii Nations is releasing these figures. It's going to be a while before we see another figure like this, so being able to cover both the Saiyan Saga and Namek Saga in one go is awesome. And then obviously the selection of hands is really good, and the Dragon Radar is fantastic. I love the fact that it doesn't actually physically connect to the hand. That you can just actually slot it in there and he's holding it. Now onto the cons. I don't actually have many for this figure. The main one that I'll bring up, I feel like he might be a bit too pale. When you look at his gun, it might be quite hard to see on camera, but looking at him in person, he does come across as if he's been in his room studying 24/7 all year long. I mean, it does fit his character, so maybe the coloring is fine, but yeah, it just kind of felt like he's a little bit on that pasty side, especially compared to the other human characters. But yeah, like besides that, I guess the only other con would be that he doesn't come with a key effect. I feel like we can never have too many of those, especially for unique attacks like his Masenko, and with the previous Piccolo, we never got a special beam cannon. Those effects would be really good to throw in here, give us a bit more variety. But yeah, besides that, overall I think it's a very solid figure and a must buy for any collector of the line. So yeah, so that wraps up the first look mini review of the figure. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe, let me know in the comments below what you think about this figure and what you're most excited for. And yeah, remember, check out the description below for the links to Rockchala so you can check out more images of Gohan, as well as the link to the Discord channel if you want to come and chat with fellow collectors. Alright, until next time, cheers!